Hello, this is Cuckoo, and I'm here at Super Booth 2025. I got the luxury of being out here, snuck out to the skateboard pump track with the founder of 1010.
Hello.
Hello, what's your name?
My name's Aaron. Thank you for taking me outside of the noisy trade show.
Yeah.
This is quite a pleasure. I appreciate it.
It's such a pleasure to meet you. I think you have such a calm personality. So every time I'm meeting you at one of these trade fairs, I'm like, yes, this is so nice. Let's have a little chat.
Well, thank you. You are the poster child of calm. Thank you for making that happen.
So in the spirit of calm, we're sitting outside and taking a look at the Bento.
Yes, so the Bento is our brand new Swiss Army knife, greatest hits product that's meant to be many things in one. It does granular synthesis, it does a multi-sample synthesis. I'm going to quick show off our granular synthesizer. This new device has a giant touchscreen, 16 pads, and they're pressure and velocity sensitive. Let's hear what that sounds like.
Sick. Stereo action.
And the granular engine is particularly good at all kinds of textures and atmospheres, and this is one particular example of that.
Yeah, and for you, if you're familiar with 1010, maybe you can explain to them where this particular sound engine comes from.
Sure. So this is actually the same sound engine as the Lemon Drop, which is our little yellow nano box.
Yeah.
But of course, here on this screen, it's much bigger and all present at the same time. You can see the grains unfolding on both oscillators at once. You can see your filters and your modulation sequencer. But many of these things have detailed screens that you can go into further, like the modulation sequencer, and that's something you can draw out with your finger.
This is such a huge improvement of like UI design, combining this touchscreen where it makes sense, and I can see 8 encoders there as well.
So the 8 on the top. It also really plays nicely when you start doing sequencing. So here's just a very short sequence. Let me slow that down. Get out of your way. And then you can manipulate these events separately. Like the velocity on that first one is a bit too high.
So you advance the selection with one knob, change the pitch, the placement with...
Yes, the placement can be adjusted there. Put in another one. Oh, now it's a little too, that's too much.
And this, as you can see, we're outside now, and it has a built-in battery, right?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, we have a built-in battery, right?
Yes, and that's part of why we're able to be out here and speak in the nice nature, is that there's a built-in battery, so you don't need to worry about having a battery pack any longer.
How long does it last, roughly?
So it's at least 3 hours. I mean, we've said that it can do that much, and we've got some things in the works to conserve power.
You mentioned, what did you say, greatest hits or something like that?
Yes.
Does it mean you have different, like a mix of all of your different technologies in there?
Right. It's greatest hits in the sense that Lemon Drop is now a hit of ours. Quite a lot of people like it.
Yeah.
Something we haven't talked about is the Black Box. That's now several different sound engines, multi-sampling.
Oh, yeah.
Here's an example of what the piano can sound like here. You've got variety of samples. Like I believe this is 100-something samples playing piano across different velocity levels and different ranges of the keyboard. And this way, sequence a little bit better.
Nice.
And there's quite an extensive reverb engine built in.
Is that
So-
something you created anew, or is it coming from somewhere else?
So this is an example of something that came from Blue Box. This is now the full-fledged reverb that's
Oh, cool.
only available in the Blue Box, and
Yeah.
not something that came directly from the Black Box.
It sounds really smooth.
Thank you. To the earlier point of greatest hits and various other things you can do. So multi-samples, of course, one shots like a drum rack. Slicing, there's probably, having a much bigger touchscreen makes that way easier, way more fun because you can see the entire waveform and
Yeah.
zoom quite in. Let me see if
I'm
some
kind of battling reflections of the sky since we're outdoors, but yeah, I can see it now.
hear some breaks with them. And so now you can see that there's the entire
Oh, nice.
waveform is
Yeah.
available on screen, and you can go in much more closely and even set a new slice that way. And based on popular requests, you can now come in and adjust these with the knob.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's way more precise and fun and easy to work with.
Yeah. And I asked you earlier about whether it has to load everything into RAM memory, and you said that no.
No, the audio is all being streamed from the micro SD card. So if you look down here, you can add your own micro SD. We of course supply one, and micro SD cards get bigger every year. We've tested cards up to 2 terabytes, so it's just impossibly big by audio standards. And because it's being streamed from the card, you don't need to worry about internal RAM, and it's also a lot faster. You can just get things going much more quickly because it's being loaded on demand.
But that also, it means that you've created a really robust, technical foundation to be able to stream multi-channel files on the fly all the time.
Yes, that's true. That's a long time in the making. That's what the Black Box does, and that's what the Tangerine does.
Yeah.
So that's what enables it to be kind of more than it might otherwise be if you have to load it into RAM.
Yeah, but you need a speedy card, I guess.
Yeah, but the cards are getting faster every year, and
Yeah.
we'll supply you with one that does all of this.
Yeah.
So it's really not that crazy anymore to get a
Yeah.
card that can do it.
Yeah, that's nice, and it also means that you can create a really big sampled instrument, like a piano you just showed.
Right.
That doesn't have to comply with very small specifications.
And you can also record or play back really long files. One of our artists likes to play 15, 20-minute loops and layer them up, and that's easily done. Sort of the theoretical maximum is a 4 gigabyte file, which is, depending on which format, 4 to 6 hours. So it's just very, very long, and more than anyone we've met has needed.
Yeah, and there is a sequencer, but there is many tracks as well. It's like a multi-track.
Right, so it's 8 different tracks, of which we've talked about most of the different types, but we will soon have MIDI and audio tracks that you can sequence external gear or just mix incoming things.
I can see it. Speaking of multi-track and MIDI, got
right,
a
so
bunch
because there's so many inputs, 3 stereo ins, 4 stereo outs, a double set of MIDI ins and outs, as well as a secondary USB-C port that you can host a MIDI controller.
Oh,
on.
that is really nice. Wow, that.
So you can hook to a lot of different things at the same time.
Yeah. Cool. Have you got a demo song or something?
Sure, I do. Thank you for asking. It might come on a little bit hot. This is what that's the Welcome to the Future slicer.
Yeah. And there was a sort of launcher.
The launcher, yes. So this is where you've got different sequences, and this is where you might mute stuff off and bring it in selectively.
What did you do there? Did you expand them? Expand the view?
So this is really just like expanding there. At present, there's 4 sequences per track, and I'm just choosing empty slots, and it's, you know, filling in the blanks there. But it's, yeah, and this is just the beginnings. Like we've worked very hard to get the hardware together,
Yeah.
and that's now in good shape. But now it's time to finish up the software, and that's, you know, one area where, you know, we'll have, you know, a scrollable list of sequences, and, you know, soon you'll be able to combine these into multiple scenes.
Oh,
where you can
nice.
see, you can launch, you know, a queue of many different things at once, and it won't strictly be a like row or a column. It'll be, you know, choose the elements that you'd like to play, you know, across 8 different scenes.
Yeah. Nice. So this becomes, yeah, it could easily become like a one device where you do almost everything, and then branch out where it needs to be branched.
Right, and it's certainly like this will never replace a DAW completely. If you want to finish a track,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you know, put it through mastering chains and do like all the stuff to get it polished and ready to, you know, put on a record or something. Like there's still a need for a DAW, but if you're just looking to get out in nature, do a performance, you know, be inspired on the airplane, like this would be a great way to get started.
Would there be a way to export a set into something that is a multi-track file?
So you can resample internally and capture your own WAV file. So you could, you know, start a loop recorder going and then perform it out and have a loop that way. We've had plenty of requests for like being able to export that more, you know, in bits and pieces in a sort of export process. But that's, you know, in the future.
Yeah. But it looks so ambitious. So I have a feeling you have a long roadmap planned for
We
this.
do.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to hear what people think. I want to thank all the black box customers who participated in a survey that we did recently.
Oh, nice.
It's really eye-opening to see like just how much, you know, recording and looping and you know, attaching to other instruments is part of what they do.
It's cool. Have you announced the price and the availability and stuff like
Yes.
that?
So the pricing is $8.99 US.
Yeah.
Here in Europe, it's generally like around €1,000.
Yeah.
But contact your local retailer. Availability, these are now finished in production and should be in stores and in people's hands within 2 weeks.
Oh wow, that's now.
So we're
basically.
here now.
Yeah, cool. So what was the process behind all of this? I feel like you've done all of these smaller ones, and then you went even smaller and made these the Lemon Drop and these. And did you have something like this in the back of your head for a long time?
I guess, yeah, we really did. I mean, even the name Bento was something that came up like years ago. Like, we really need to find a way to put multiple things together and kind of have a Uber box.
Yeah.
The process, I wish I could tell you that it's like a strict formula and like everyone should follow this, but like, no. It's very much a, you know, take the next step and see where you can go from there. Maybe 2 steps ahead, not 20 and not 0. But as far as the process, it's like you know, we take input from what customers have to say and what the industry is doing and what the hardware will do.
Yeah.
And it was great to have like bigger screens become available.
Yeah.
It was great to work with our factory on velocity sensitive pads, but like it defies an easy explanation of how this comes together.
Yeah. What is this something particular, no matter how obscure, that you would like to emphasize, like something you're really proud of something?
I'm definitely really proud of what the team has done on this one. It's, you know, it's very much a group effort. There's very much you know, times when you think like this is never going to work. You know, how are we going to possibly pull this off? And you need to push through that. Like it's, you know, there'll be times of sadness and times of triumph. So, like anybody out there considering doing something like this or producing their own music, like push ahead. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be fun, but it will, for the most part, be worth it.
How big is your team?
So we're a relatively small team. We're 4 full-time people and maybe 6 freelancers to go with that. But it's great to tap into the expertise of people around the world and to pull something like this off.
So I bet you're like a lot of overlapping in what you do together.
Yeah, there's lots of us wear lots of hats. You know, hardware, software, user interface. Like it's you know, you need to try it and refine it and try it again. And you know, it's a process, a journey, not a destination.
Yeah. Very cool. I'm stoked to see where this is going, and I think, yeah, maybe like if we meet the next year, we probably have a clear update that we end users do not know anything about now.
Well, you know, I trust we'll be in a very different spot a year from now. Like just even getting, you know, various aspects of the hardware to work at all was the biggest part of this project. So I look forward to the funner, more user-facing stuff in coming months.
Yeah. Did you make like your own operating system for this, or what's the lowest level of this software?
Yeah, there's it's some people would call it bare metal. There are a handful of things that we did rely upon, like for those who know FreeRTOS or FATFS, like some pretty low-level toolkits to do real-time operating systems and file system type stuff. But it was largely, you know, a homegrown effort. I know like Linux and other more advanced tool sets are popular and out there, but we chose this approach. It's got its pros and cons. You get to control everything, but then you're responsible for everything.
Yeah, I think it's the way to go if you need to like optimize at the lowest level. And I think something like just the SD card, that needs to be so tight, it cannot fail because it's so fundamental to the whole experience.
It's true.
So
that's
you need
a lot of effort right there.
You need to do it on your own, because updating like a ready-made system, it might be cumbersome to go into like a more generalized platform. And
I guess I would say the more generalized platform might be easier to get started, but like kind of harder to finish.
Yeah.
Whereas the more homegrown thing is the opposite. You're really having to spend tons of time just to like put a red block on the screen.
Yeah.
Or make it turn off properly. So that's frustrating, but once it's finally working, it will pay off.
Yeah. Well, cool. Keep an eye out for Bento, or for 1010 in general. They have a great smaller stuff, and this is small too, but it's is it your largest product?
It is by quite a lot. So still getting used to that.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and good luck with the future of 1010 and Bento.
Thank you so very much. It was a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you, likewise.